Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. We're going to start with James K. Fallon's update here. He says the motion was granted. So he's referring to this document that he had put up on August 24th. So it's just yesterday at 9 o'clock a.m. He says the SEC has filed a request to file an omnibus, meaning big reply, up to 90 pages in length in further support of its motion to exclude the testimony of defendants' expert witnesses. So coming in here, where's it at right here? Moon Lambo said, slightly confused, didn't the SEC already propose this at the beginning of July? So then James K. Fallon clears things up and says, one is the original request to file an omnibus motion to exclude, and this one is a motion to file an omnibus reply to the original motion. It lets the parties just file one big document, each covering everything. So his update today is saying the motion was granted. And I'm going to let George from Crypto RRS kind of speak on it in regards, because he kind of talked about it in his video earlier this morning. So let's take a quick listen into this.
And we got this. So SEC is filing a 90-page motion to a judge because they do not like these expert witnesses that Ripple plans on testifying. So there's 10 expert witnesses, and SEC does not like it, right? So I don't know what it is. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not looking at this like daily. I'm not looking at what's really happening, but from all accounts, it looks like the SEC is just really desperate. They keep trying to block the testimony of the prior director. All the data that they used to conclude Ethereum was a commodity, not a security. They refuse to hand that over, despite the fact every judge that has been looking at it says, no, you need to hand it over. They still do not hand it. They still did not hand it over. And then these expert witnesses, they don't want their testimony to count in court. It's like, why? The SEC is basically saying, we treat you guilty, and you have to prove yourself to be innocent, rather than the opposite, right? It should be you're innocent until proven guilty, but the SEC operates on a different, spectrum, where you're guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent, but they're making it nearly impossible to prove that you are innocent. So how does that work, right? I don't know. It's so weird. Gary Gensler really, 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 really does not want to lose this case. They lose a lot of leverage if they lose this case, right? This is why I support Ripple in this case, because I want to see the SEC lose. Because if they win, they're going to have all the ammunition in the world to attack everyone else. But if they lose, it'll put them somewhat back in their place. So
I just wanted to give a different perspective, and this is from George from Crypto RS YouTube channel here, and in one of his live streams, and he's an individual that has certain reservations against XRP, and he has his own opinion on it. He doesn't really follow the case, day to day like most of us do within the XRP community, but I was really intrigued by kind of just his viewpoint on kind of what's been going on based on the motion that was just presented, and how his take on Gary Gensler and the SEC stance on coming after Ripple and XRP, and pretty much how he says it's like they don't even have, it's like they're not allowing them to truly and outright defend themselves, which is kind of shady, and it's like, you're guilty type things, kind of taking that, as we say, that regulation by enforcement, which is kind of crazy. So I want to have a big shout out for George from Cryptos RS. I really like his content and stuff he puts out, even though he has certain reservations against XRP, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion there. I wanted to cover this from Jungle Leak. He says, will former SC Director William Hinman be investigated? Heat turning up, and then 63% out of the 201 votes. Obviously, this is early because this just happened. It says yes. So who knows what's going to happen? I think if justice is to be served, that everyone that had any wrongdoing or shady behavior that's affected thousands and thousands of investors' lives and pretty much halted the entire industry, I think they should get what they deserve, and justice should be served. So hopefully there is an investigation behind all this stuff. The whole hashtag ETHGate, Ethereum Free Pass, and conflicts of interest with William Hinman and all that stuff. So just kind of a waiting game to see what happens. This from Crypto Law says the SEC quote, the SEC under the Gensler disrespects Congress and the courts and imperils investors and innovators. Gensler is leading himself and the SEC into ruin. He should resign. Hashtag Gary Gensler resign in today's Forbes by Rosalind Layton. So this is a lot of the stuff. That's why I played George's perspective on it, because he's talking about how, I'm not a fan, but I'm in favor for Ripple to win this, because if the SEC wins, they're going to literally gain more leverage and power over the industry and, to overregulate and overstep in this industry. And that's kind of what's been leading into this hashtag Gary Gensler resign. And this kind of been taking the Twitterverse, especially the community, by storm. Everyone's kind of putting up this hashtag and retweeting this Forbes article here. Highly recommend you go in and read it right here. So this is Johnny Deaton on the claim and countdown. So let's take a quick listen into this, see what he has to say.
Penning an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal last week defending what some are calling his aggressive approach to regulating the cryptocurrency industry. Firing back in a Fox Business op-ed, lawyer John Deaton, who's representing more than 70,000 XRP investors in a class action lawsuit against the SEC. John Deaton joins me now with Charlie Gasparino, who's been closely following the SEC's ongoing lawsuit with the crypto company Ripple. Charlie, what you got?
I don't have a lot. He has it. She said 75. She said 75,000, and then she corrected to 70. Is it 75,000?
72,500.
You're right.
Look
Almost the first time. So
we'll settle in the middle.
So you represent the XRP holders.
I do.
You don't. You're not carrying any water for Ripple.
Absolutely not.
This is your case that you believe that the XRP shareholders have been like collateral damage, roadkill, so to speak. And that's I think the point that you made pretty well in the column, comparing them to the oranges in the Hawley case. Now we will not get into that because that will take the entire show and the Howey case. Howey case is what determines if the SEC has the authority to go after you because you didn't file, like they're saying Ripple and XRP did, right? You're saying that you're stretching the boundaries. Last I heard, and I think the last time you were on the show, the SEC was trying to get you thrown off the case. They don't like you. So where does that sit?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Lauren. Thank you for meeting you. Good to meet you. Listen, 72,500 people from over 142 countries around the world have joined together. These are the people that Gary Gensler swore to protect. And instead of talking to us and reaching out to us, he filed a motion, his SEC lawyers filed a motion to revoke our standing in court, which means revoke our amicus status, and personally have me thrown off the court,
so
out of the case. Well, the judge ignored their silly request. Basically, I'm still allowed to participate. But you want to know who Gary Gensler does have time for? He's met Vanguard 7 times since being SEC chair. Why is that relevant? Because Vanguard manages 90% of his 120 million fortune. So he can meet them, but not us. Who's he protecting?
It's a good quote. We tried to get him on. By the way, before he issued the op-ed to the Wall Street Journal, we were asked him to do the op-ed. I guess he said, "Screw you," and I'll just do it into the Wall Street Journal. Be that as it may, but we'll give you the floor. Why doesn't he have standing to do what he's doing? He claims that all these things are sold, so they're securities, and once it's a rotten piece of fruit, it does extend to the people that holds them. And if XRP is a security because of the way Ripple issued it to finance its platform, just like you would issue a stock or a bond, they did not register with the SEC that XRP is in circulation illegally, allegedly. And then you pick it up, and 72,000 people pick it up, but you're holding an illegal security. Why is that? What's wrong with that analysis? Because that's what I think he's saying.
Because in the Howey case you referred, they said that the sales contract and the service contract and the scheme is the investment contract. That's the security, not the underlying asset. The oranges or the land tract, orange groves.
Which Howey was about selling orange groves, right? And whether that instituted a contract.
The oranges weren't never the securities. The underlying asset is not. XRP is digital code. That's all it is, an alphanumeric code. It's software.
So what you're essentially saying is Ripple is guilty, not the XRP holders. Or Ripple could be guilty.
What I'm saying is that in 76 years, when you look at all the SEC cases coming from the Howey case, There's never been a case where there's been absolutely no privity between the purchaser and the buyer. Right. What I'm saying is, SEC, if you can prove the case against Ripple, go at it. Right. Do your job. But when you say that a person who purchased it on Coinbase, who's never heard of the company Ripple, and has no idea who Brad Garlinghouse is, when you're claiming that that token 10 years later is an unregistered security with Ripple, now you've stretched that Howey case beyond recognition.
It's like saying all the oranges in the groves that were illegal contracts, the oranges are illegal.
It's like saying a grocer, imagine a grocer is like a digital exchange, like a Coinbase. When you go in and buy the orange, they're saying you now hold an unregistered security.
Even though the grove that produced the orange may be illegal.
And if that person sold it. So here's the thing to understand. Bitcoin has been used as an unregistered security. Doesn't make Bitcoin an unregistered security. Chinchillas, whiskey, oranges, beavers, all of them have been held. Yes, beavers. Like it's the scheme of how you use it. Condos have been used as any commodity.
I'm getting the wrap here, John, but I want to just real quick, fill us in. Where's the case stand? Where's it going?
Well, the thing to know is that Gensler's request to have me thrown off, that's not going anywhere. We're still participating.
Is it going to court?
It's going to court. There's been summary judgment filings that are happening. There's experts that are being challenged. Will it get done by the end of the year? No, it's not going to get done unless there's a settlement. It won't be done.
So we're going to get you back on soon again.
So yeah, I'm glad that they're looking forward to getting Johnny Deaton back on. Obviously, it'd be nice if like Johnny Deaton literally had like a segment to where he can just talk and lay out everything that he wants to lay out. And I know when it comes to Charles Gasparino and with how they host these shows, they don't have so much time to get through so much information, but there's so much that could be said, and it really needs to hit these mainstream media outlets so the masses can know what's going on. And it's been happening. We've been doing the good work behind scenes, constantly retweeting, making YouTube videos, sharing, liking Johnny Deaton and Crypto Law US stuff. So we just got to keep fighting the good fight. And, shout out Liz Clayman and Charles Gasparino and Johnny Deaton for, doing the good work. So here goes an update from the Bitboy Crypto sues YouTuber Atozy for defamation. So I put out this video yesterday here, and David Schwartz has a response. He goes, so about the Bitboy Crypto and Atozy lawsuit, it looks like everyone is doing the right thing now. And as I suspected, it seems Ben was misled by his lawyers who definitely should have known better. Yay for happy endings. And then Johnny Deaton, effing lawyers. He says, I had this terrible nightmare last night, and a busload of lawyers went off a cliff. Oh, I almost forgot to explain what it was, why it was a nightmare. Two seats were empty. So coming over here, Jeremy Hogan also says something in response to this Bitboy Crypto video here. He goes, you don't usually just drop a lawsuit. You call the defendant who doesn't want to go through 2 years of litigation, even if they're going to win, and say, hey, let's work this out. And you come up with a mutual statement that lets you get out and look good. This is different. So let's listen in to what Bitboy, Ben Armstrong from Bitboy Crypto has to say here.
Lawsuit. Okay. Where we're at is, at this point, it has become public. It's become an absolute debacle. We know Kobe gave him $100,000. So, hopefully that money will go to good use. But yeah, so we are going to drop the lawsuit 100%. And I'm sorry this became public. Okay.
So, I mean, hey, drop the lawsuit. What do you say? He gave him $100,000. 1 second.
It has become public. It's become an absolute debacle. We know Kobe gave him $100,000. So,
he said we hit up Atozy and gave him $100,000. So, hey, shout out to Atozy for standing up, for what was right and to defend himself. And shout out to the community for supporting him. And obviously, if Bitboy was or Ben was misled by his lawyers, and I'm glad he's willing to come up here and say this, which regardless of whatever, if this was right or wrong, whatever the case is, just shout out for this being a positive ending to this whole debacle that was taking place. But that's kind of the update we have for you. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. Really appreciate your support. I truly do. This channel is actually starting to gain some traction, which I'm really excited about. I love having these conversations and covering what's happening within the crypto industry. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.